It's Lil Baby.
Welcome to episode 50 of Conversations, which I'm your host, Ihram Chowdhury, aka Lil Baby Ram. Today I have with me author, journalist, probably the second biggest celebrity in my household. I have my dad, Ibrahim Chowdhury.
Wow. First of all, I have a question. Who is the first celebrity at home? Number one. Number two. What happened to the name I call my son, Promit?
The first answer to your first question is I think I'm my sister's in the audience too now. I'm definitely eclipsed. Maybe I might be the second. We'll see after this. We'll see how many people like this from my side, and then how many people like this from your side. Second one, I haven't been from me. I'm only from me to our family. Everybody else here knows me as either Ram or Little Baby Ram. But thanks for doing this, Dad.
All right. Let's
My dad wants to
start.
get right to this. No, so I wanted to have my dad on because I think a lot of the, not just Bangladeshis in the West, but South Asians in the West, we've been seeing what's been going on in Bangladesh. And for us, for the listeners that don't know, so Bangladesh basically went through let's just call it a revolution, where the prime minister of the country stepped down, the administration that was in power stepped down, and we're now entering an interim government. The reason for this was because of a quota system that was in place, and this came to light, the students revolted, and now we have a pretty exciting time for Bangladesh, I would say.
Crucial time, yes.
But I want to start first with this quota system, because this episode is going to be my understanding and then the education piece. So from what we understand is that the quota system was essentially set in place for all the freedom fighters in Bangladesh.
Correct.
And their descendants. And a certain percentage of government jobs, were allocated to the descendants of freedom fighters. Now, first, tell us about whether A, how that works, like the actual pragmatic approach, and B, what were the flaws with that system?
Well, thank you for asking me the question, and thank you for all the introduction. First of all, I feel very good when you guys are living in America and tell we are entering. So you guys own Bangladesh. That's all we wanted. That we are the first generation of immigrant, whether it came from India, Pakistan, or wherever, from Bangladesh, from China. When we see our children, they are owning their father's country, mother's country. So we think we did something good. At least we are just happy to see that you guys are carrying this thing. Okay, the narrative of this recent problem or recent revolution by the new generation of young people, the outside of the narratives is good because it started with this problem. There are some quota system was reserved for the freedom fighters and their family members and their sons, daughters, even after that their stepsons. Well, it was created because the people sacrificed their life for the country. Not only the freedom fighter, there was some quota like in here for women, for underprivileged people. But the problem was the corruption. There are lots of people, they are not utilizing the proper way the quota is. The student movement happened, but it is not only happened due to the quota system. For last 15 years, there was no election. There was no public mandate for the government. Although, they are telling that this is a public mandate, but people was not allowed to vote. People, a lot of the free speech was not available there. A lots of autocratic step, corruption, all those things happened. So people were like pretty much upset. So we always know that the Arab Spring happened a couple of years back, right? You guys always know that. So this is a pretty much another revolution is done by. They were not even ready. They were not in the street to change the government. They were just came to, hey, when I pass the exam, when I'll be graduated from the university, all I need a fair chance to enter in my job market. That's the simple demand. But the people were so upset. They supported people, and the government, they are just ignoring first. They are ignoring, and they then shoot people, that tear gas people, and all of a sudden, government had to not only resign. It was a painful thing, and still it is going. The ex prime minister, she is the daughter of our great leader, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. She had to flee from the country. Otherwise, people will kill her. And all lots of our ministers and others who are administrators, police chiefs, they had to leave. So it is pretty much it was a chaotic situation. And the 600 more than 600 people, even the United Nations, they are estimating almost 1,000 people, was killed. Hundreds of people, thousands of people were injured, and we don't know where it is going. Still, the crisis is going. There are some interim, the Nobel owner, Nobel Peace Laureate. That's the only guy, Dr. Yunus. Even the previous government was against him. So he took the power. Still, it is not completely constitutional, but they are trying to manage the situation. Yes,
I think so. So from a couple of things that you said that I want to touch on. So the first is that I think for us, the reason that I saw a lot of Bangladeshis here, right, my generation, look at that student movement.
Yes.
Because here we're so unhappy, and we go to Twitter, we go, we definitely have protests. But I think the thing that was amazing about the Bangladesh protests is essentially how almost uniform it was. Like, it was a movement of not just one or two colleges, right? It was a movement across.
Yeah, across the globe, all the Bangladeshis, the young generation in the United States, in UK, all over the Western, Eastern country, they came to the street and they supported the, Dhaka movement.
So this is where, so the other question I have is, I saw videos and I didn't know how to feel of people taking down statues of Sheikh Mujibur. Now, from my understanding of Sheikh Mujibur and like what he contributed to the founding of Bangladesh, where is that coming from? Because I saw a lot of people taking down existing statues of somebody who's is considered the father of Bangladesh.
Well, you were talking to a guy. I grew up with the Bangladesh. When 1971, we fought for our country. I was a young student, and after that, the Bangladeshi people, we were always fighting with something. Sometimes against army generals, sometimes against fundamentalists. So our culture is not like complete Western culture. But if I remind you, even say Black Lives Matters happened. It was a massive movement in the COVID time. But there were some anarchism happened. But this is not the fault of the revolutionary people. This is not the fault of the people who are fighting for their right. So yes, it is painful. It happened. A statue of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was attacked, and some other the country's buildings, railways, it been attacked. Some looting happened. Even people attacked on the minority like Hindus, but those are miscreants. This is not the main force of the movement. The students who are in the movement. So
I want to bring that up because that was something that I wanted to bring on. So there has been a lot of reports in Western media of Bangladeshi Hindus that are being persecuted, right? And obviously we're seeing protection from students, but we are still seeing a lot of violence. Now, because Bangladesh is in a very precarious area, right? We're in between governments. How do we make sure that, because to her credit or discredit, right? A dictator, an authoritarian government kept things.
Yes.
There was a firm hold on things, right? And whether you agree with is not, but there was a firm hold. But now, how do we make sure? How does the government that is now in place?
Yes, exactly. It's a valid question. The whole thing is, our Hindus in our country, they are victim of the politics. Like here, black people. It doesn't matter, the neighbor guy, neighbor guy, he does not hate the neighbor black guy, but the whole system is like that. Always they are the victim of the politics, victim of the people who are making the money. The capitalism makes, that's the way. So again, same, if you see the Hindus are always victim after even the liberation, the Awami League government, even the who are always supporter of Hindus. These leaders, they took the property of Hindus. So they are always victim of the Hindus. So when a fair society, democracy runs, rule of law prevail, when democracy works, everything will be a fair, and this is a continuous fight. You cannot just, it is not an overnight thing. The fairness in the society comes with the revolution, with the passion, with the practice. So we hope for the best. Our generation is fighting, and you guys, the Gen Z, right? This is the new generation. Nothing, we think like when we fought in 1971, the whole world was different. We are against America because the capitalism, and it was a socialism where, or the Russia, the whole motivation was different. All the student movement in 70s or 80s, all the student movements was driven by some other ideology, a fair society. But we always blame this new generation is a TikTok, all this social, Facebook and other stuff. But when this young generation, they raise up, they do something good. And this is your time. If you make the mistake, you have to correct it. That's all. That's we hope for the best. And I believe, from my experience, when a society works in a democratic process, when you value people, then it will go away. But it will take time.
But I think the difference between, I think, like young generations in the West and young generations, we're seeing this conversation happen now because we have a political cycle coming in. Obviously, we have the presidential election in the U.S. So we're told that you have to move within the political system that currently exists. But I think why the movement in Bangladesh is so impressive is because they essentially said this political system does not work.
Yes, it's corrupt and we have to change it.
But I would say that the same thing applies here.
Exactly.
Like, hey, it is corrupt, but we keep being told, oh, you have to change it with voting. And I'm sure that, again, Bangladesh had elections, quote unquote, but it was still corrupt elections.
Yes, you have to see that, for last 200 years, America fought, came in this place after a long, civil war and other stuffs. But our fight, we freed from the British India in 1947. After that, fight after fight, and our people in Bangladeshi people, young generation, are more politically conscious than my son and daughter who grew up in America. Yeah. Because their determination, this is their life and death question. This is their existence. Nobody is holding you to get a job here. You have a fair chance to get a job in anywhere. But in Bangladesh, no. You have to have a money. You have to have a connection. You have to have a powerful dad to get a job. Definitely, if you are in Bangladesh, I have to get a job for you, using my connection. So our young generation, from the very early stage, they know their fighting is different. Their destination is different. So they are more politically conscious, and they are the people. They are saying no. The whole system is corrupt, and we have to change the system. Yes, in America there is a system in place. So to change this system is very hard. I'm your dad working in corporate America or wherever. So I am holding this system because then it's very hard for you to fight. But in Bangladesh or a country like that, in Pakistan, even in India, the system is not in the place properly. So their fighting is much stronger. They are more conscious. They are here. They are there to sacrifice their time and effort. You will not go to a procession for one day, fun, and you will take some picture and send your picture to your daughter. But the young people who went to the street in Bangladesh, they will sacrifice their life. They sacrificed their life. And they know that with my blood, somebody will come someday and tell, hey, we got a fair society. The fighting is different.
I think for us that's a good point because we bring that up all the time because I say that even like our cousins in Bangladesh, they're more politically savvy
Yes.
about Western politics than
Yes.
many of us here. But I think a big part of that is A, whether you want to blame social media distractions, right? And then B, there's enough. This is the beauty of like capitalism, right? As a system, they keep enough of us happy or enough of us with the hope of that one day. We'll
Yeah,
see the
it's not the
top
beauty.
percent.
It's the it's not the
It is the
it's the
trap.
trick.
It's
It is
the
the trap of the capitalism. They hang you something. Hey, you can catch this candy and just run and just little bit more. Just wait. I mean, just you'll get it. But the system is like that. Someday, out of like 100, you will get only 1 or 2% will get it.
That's funny that you say that because you, for everybody's like background, you were a very like social. When you were young,
Yes.
right? Like my dad was the head of like the Bangladesh like Communist Party, right?
Yes, still I believe that.
But you say that, but it's funny. The years that we lived here, right, and you were making good money here, you definitely leaned because again, self-interest driven. We're like we all
Yeah, we
Like you
kind of
said it.
hypocrisy, and we defeated. Our life is we don't have a successful life. If you consider successful life is being in America, being upper middle class, or buying a Mercedes for you and give whatever you want, this is not a success for my life. At the age 16, 15, my success was to change the society. It was things. So our whole life was deprived. We could not. Yeah, I just survived in the system with a compromise every day. Now I have to compromise with you and with your sister and your generation. Yes. So we have a failure life. What does the success mean? Success means what was the determination? I had a determination for my society. I had a commitment with the society. I had so many comrades. They knew that they put their trust on me. What happened? I betrayed to all of them because the only option I could sacrifice my individual life, so many lives sacrificed like that, and no outcome came in. So we're a defeated generation. Now the young generation, they have no ideological stand. We tell that. But what ideology means, it evolves in a different way. If you see the history of mankind, ideology changed. Everything is the fairness of the people. If people get a fair society and a fairness from their state, from their country, that's all about.
I think but like you said, right? Like I think a lot of us like grow up. There's a famous Winston Churchill quote, right, where it's like when you're young, if you're not a liberal, you don't have a heart. If you're older and you're not a conservative, then you don't have a brain. Because of that thing, right? When you enter a place of influence and potential influence, again, self-protection, right?
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I'm making money now. I no longer... And that's why a lot of these movements are moved by students first. But then once you escape that, right? Like, because I know a lot now. Again, I've been out of college a couple of years, right? At 27, 28, most of my friends that were hey, let's change our entire society and government are now way too comfortable paying 6 figures.
Yeah.
That they're like, why would we look? A, we don't have the time, right? We're in our jobs 9 to 5 every day. I'm not spending a weekend going to a protest, right? Those are usually held by students that have the time. And also, I'm not risking what I've worked for and established for people down the line that I don't know, that I don't see. I get it, right? Like it is a selfish, self-interest driven thing, but that's essentially what our society is now operating on, which is why seeing the movement in Bangladesh is inspiring, right? Because everyone out here, we talk about change. And
This is what change means. Now, I'm glad that I'm talking to you. This is probably the most important talk in my life. Then I'm talking with my hypocrisy, that my compromise, my defeat with my son. And, everybody knows in the society, I'm a successful man because I came to America. It's not success. Because a human life, this is a failure if you cannot keep your commitment. So in my case, we're a surrendered generation. Yes. Now, when when we grew up, we're smarter than anybody else. Because if you don't have a smart mind, if you are not, above average, you cannot have a drive to do something good for the society. Now, when you come to the capitalism, when you get all those, all those capitalist, world, then everything is like an octopus. They will get, they will get you. Then they will give you some hope. They will give you some, comfort, and you are just you dipped yourself there.
So that's a very good point. So like me and my friends talk about is a lot of it is just money based, right? Because the greatest minds of our time, it's incentivized that we go into tech or we go into banking, right?
Yeah.
Because the smartest minds, like they're like, wait, I can go here and make however much money. I can make $175,000 out of college, right? If I just work for this bank to help them make more money. But imagine those smartest minds work to let me change our society for the better. But again, it's too long term of a thinking to think I'm going to be a part of the movement that changes this. Because what history has shown us is that the individual who sacrifices the immediate, hey, I'm going to make money, is not enough to change this society by themselves.
Right.
It has to be so many of us that all agree that we're going to sacrifice a generation of money or a generation of comfort to make our society better. I think the illusion of the current political system is that, hey, I can make small changes once I have money. Right? That's what everybody says. Like,
Exactly.
I get money, I'm going to make a small change by where I donate to or where I vote.
Yeah, give you a charity. So all those things. But it's not the change. If the structure, if the system, if you cannot change the system, if you cannot change your personal contribution makes nothing. If you if I give 1 million, I'll give you 10% to the charity. This charity will not give you anything. The society, it remains there, remains behind. So, but the whole thing is the whole world changed. The whole world in a crisis of ideology now. If you think to us, in 70s, in 80s, even until 90s, we thought like whole world has a vision, but based on the Karl Marx economy, we used to believe that the revolution will happen. The working class will take the power. But nobody is talking about that. Still, the movement is alive. Still, this philosophy is right. Still, capitalism is sucking the money, all the levers' money. And they give you some opportunity and telling this show that your dad came here with $20 and you graduated from a renowned school, renowned college, renowned university without having any student loan. So this was my comfort. Hey, I could do it. I'm doing it, but it was not my commitment at the young age.
It's funny though that you say that, right? Because yes, you did that, but then the way that I look at it now, right, is that I essentially, and I don't blame you and I don't blame myself because we didn't know any better, right? But I essentially started being a part of the same game that we're saying was rigged against me my entire life. Because the job that I got signed up for was essentially to be in that class that I'm going to work forever for this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
I think that like the 9 to 5 trap is still a trap. Because all of the things that I wanted to do in terms of like change and make things better for our people, right? I think I sacrificed that early. I sacrificed that probably as soon as I graduated. I decided to work for the biggest company in the world, right? Like, and that in itself is a sacrifice of some principle and ideology. But I think now to bring it back to the status of Bangladesh, I thought, and I think a lot of us shared this sentiment, before even it was announced that Dr. Yunus was going to be the head of this interim government, we thought, oh, who else better than a Nobel laureate? What is your opinion on that? I guess
Well, he's an aged person, but all over the world, he's a renowned person. His honesty, his integrity, his name and fame, we have no question. And
is there criticism?
Is there?
I know the past government villainized him. So
Well, but he's a person from the system. You have to understand that when I'm talking to you, he's a part of the whole big capitalism system. So from that perspective, he cannot do anything revolutionary. But in this point, in our country, like Bangladesh, we need at least minimum a honest person, a manageable person. The limitation is his age. He is 84 years old. Now, a human life is very limited. My son, you're gonna sleep and you wake up and you will see that you are already 60. You have nothing to do. So all those dream we had, or he had. I knew Dr. Yunus from Bangladesh, and in this government, you have so many people even know Rejwana Hassan, Asif Nazrul. Those are our friends or our relatives. We know them. Their integrity and their qualification is out of the question. The whole thing is, it is very hard to change the system. How they will unite all those divided people in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is not like two-party divided, that, hey, we are against Hasina, or we are against Awami League, or we are for Awami League. Bangladesh has so many divided situation. Working class, capitalism, capitalist class, they have Hindu, they have Muslim, they have radical force. There are so many division there. So it is very hard. It is very hard to understand from from this Western perspective, what is the internal conflict of the Bangladeshi society. So hope some kind of common ground we can come together for national building, and this Dr. Yunus is the right person. And in this point, Bangladesh is in an economic crisis. Lots of support from the international places we need, from USA, from European Union, and Dr. Yunus has a good connection for that. They trust him. So
is Bangladesh still considered like in a state of economic crisis? I know, obviously, like as it goes.
it is a developing country, but it is yes, it is a crisis because nothing is stable. Nothing is stable. We are doing very good because in the garments industry. And we have millions of people outside, so they earn petrodollar, they earn US dollar, and they send Bangladesh. This is foreign currency, so it is a good money flow there. But corruption is still, we are not in a stable situation. We can tell that, hey, we are on our foot. So in this point, plus the COVID, and after COVID and all those last 15 years corruption, our economy is not very good. So we need a lots of support from the international arena. And in this point, Dr. Yunus and this government is very good to get this support. So this is the hope.
What is the status of the interim government? So Dr. Yunus is now obviously the advisor.
Your dad is a lawyer too. So the problem is still it is a constitutional question. When a revolution happened, a lots of constitutional question. It is the will of the people. It is the will of the people. Now, what is written in our constitution? It is not going now. It is. We are just ignoring that. So a political player, political activists, political stakeholders, they have to come forward and they have to tell, hey, whatever they will do, Dr. Yunus and his team, we will, approve it after go through the democratic process. So still we are in a crisis.
What is that? So Sheikh Hasina, whatever, left, retired, whatever, stepped down. What is the actual political process?
Well, actual political process is there is no if democratically, because it was not democratically elected, but as a paperwork, she was the prime minister. Okay, the rule is she can resign, but until the next government form, she has to continue. Okay, if she refused to continue that, then the Speaker of the House, like Congress, we have a parliament, Speaker of the House had to continue. There is no option in our country. Then you can invite somebody and tell them the power. But in this point, the president resolved this parliament, and he had no power. He has no power. But we are not questioning that. Lots of people are not questioning that. In this point, stability, when hundreds of people are dying, when police killed, when army car or convoy was attacked, so it was a whole civil war situation. So in this point, there are political debates they are holding, and hopefully they will agree whatever Dr. Yunus and his colleagues are doing, they will approve in a parliament in future. When? We don't know.
So right now, because
Well, right now it's not constitutional.
right now one of our cousins said that on the ground they have like students
Yes.
like
Holding the
directing traffic.
traffic, yes.
So what is like in your eyes, right? And maybe this is going on right now. What are the steps right now? Because Dr. Yunus is obviously like it's only been what 2 weeks, not even. 2
Not
weeks?
even 2 weeks,
2
yeah.
weeks. What is the steps now from what it is currently to a stable, steady government state that can actually govern? Because we've never seen, we've seen it, but we've also seen the travesties that come from revolution without reforming a functional, structured government. Because again, I think that opinion, and feel free to agree, disagree. Opinion is that it's a opportunity for Bangladesh to go in the right direction, but there's always the risk that this opens the doors to whatever.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
Poverty,
I agree and disagree. I have the same confusion. Yes, this is a make and break situation for Bangladesh. Either with this thing we'll do much better with this generation, or we'll go to another era. The whole country will be, anybody can occupy this country, radical groups, or anything. And a long-term civil war may happen, but hopefully, people live for hope. People, always we think for the best. So, yes, but I'm even everybody, even who are running this country, everybody has a 50-50, confusion, what's going on, how far we can do. The whole thing is this revolutionary young generation, they have their sentiment, they have their art to do that, but they have no experience. Again, and the whole system corrupted everywhere. All the operatives in last 15 years or more than that, not even 50 years. Some people are, for last 50 years, they are holding the, civil administration. They are corrupt. You cannot change anything. But if I cannot, hire you and I can just, hey, go and fix that. You cannot do that. You have to have an experience how to run the government, how to run the labor department, how to run the administration.
Okay, so is that actually true? Because
Yes.
because this is why. This is back to now let's apply to like the US, right? This is the exact thing that they tell every up and coming politician, that you have to play this game with the existing powers. Because the same thing that you're talking about for Bangladesh is the same thing that we talk about in the West, right? For example, if the Democratic Party is still being held by its neck by old political operatives that say, hey, like all of you young upstarts, you guys can't operate here. Like we're talking about like, I don't even know how long Nancy Pelosi's been politically relevant, right?
Yeah.
Like Schumer, like those people have been the political strength. So how do we make sure that whoever the Bangladesh mandate decides is not just a rebrand of the existing government that has existed? Because of what you said, because it's been 10 to 15 years of the same players, how are they not part of the same?
I'm afraid to say that. Well, the young people who is fighting that, he's son of an administrator, he's son of a police guy, he's son of a lawyer guy like me or a journalist like me. So he is a part of the system. Now, revolution, if you see the history of revolution is all over the world, revolution needs the sacrifice. Are you ready to sacrifice your life? Are you ready to sacrifice another 5-10 years? I don't know. If we don't have the passions, if we want to do right your way, you have to train yourself in the system. Yes, the system is so established. You cannot just make it tomorrow. In say police station, we say thana or upajala. There is a police officer. So if you catch a thief, the process has to be done by police officer. You don't know how it works, what is the law, how the law works. So now there all the police officer, they flew from the station. There nobody there. They're coming again, and students are holding the traffic, but they are not the traffic officer. They have to have their study. So we have to go through a lots of process, and we don't know. I fear from the distance. I'm not in Bangladesh for a long time, as you know, but we can just all hope for the best. But it will be very tough. It will be very tough. because in a couple of months, or a couple of weeks, the vested interested group will rise again, and they will regroup against those against the good people, and everywhere the player inside outside, they will be activated. So they will act on their own. So it is very hard, and in geopolitics is will play a big role. So in this point, the Yunus government is supported by the big party like US or European Union, but we don't know how to maintain the balance. There is a big player, India, but China, they are the big player, there. So all those geopolitics, how they will play, we'll see, and we can hope for the best.
You mentioned India and Pakistan. What is the position of those two states being so close to Bangladesh?
Yeah.
Like, do you think that they have a
Well,
opinion on
definitely, India has a big influence. India has a big influence in Bangladesh because we are the neighboring country. We have the largest, the boundary with India, and India is the country who supported us when we freed from Pakistan. So the Sheikh Hasina government was very close to them. Whatever they wanted, the trade, business, the passage to go through from one state to another. So everything they were agreed. We have a issue with the river, water reserve. So in this point, India is not happy. But the problem is, whoever the strong government, they cannot just ignore it. If people are united, India will play good like any other state. The relationship will continue on the mutual interest. That's all. But in this point, India is not happy that Hasina is not in the power. Pakistan has not a big role in our country anymore. But there are some radical force like pro-Islamic groups. They have a close relation with the Pakistani people. But Pakistan is not a big player in Bangladesh politics now, because they have their own problem. They are handling it. So, but China is a big group there, because China and India, they are fighting for their existence in Southeast Asia. So China has a lots of investment in Bangladesh, and Bangladesh is a big market. So China is another big player. We have to look at that, how the new government or Bangladeshi people will handle that.
One sec. Yeah, for sure. Can you see what that screen, if it's on that or if it's on thing? Engineers. Let me see. Yeah. You good?
Yeah. We were supposed to come here at 5, and he just came.
Nah, yeah. Is it, sorry, was that wide or was it switched?
It's wide.
Okay, all right, cool.
শেষ করে দিবে?
Huh?
শেষ না?
No, we're just gonna cut back in.
তো এটা কি করছো? মানে কাটবা এটা? Okay.
Well, we're good. Yeah. You mentioned like fundamentalist groups.
Yes.
In Bangladesh. Is that a real fear or is that a real risk? Is there enough of a majority? Because me and you talk about, again, Bangladesh like for the long time, and probably because it's helped the economic development of the country being more secular. But is that a real risk of having fundamental groups?
Yes, definitely. It's a risky zone. Whatever happened, the Westerns are mostly responsible for that. There is a hostile situation between the Western and a Muslim fundamentalist group. And Bangladesh is a big hub of all those madrasas. The education system is not fair in Bangladesh. So, there is like Pakistan style madrasas. All the people educated from the madrasas, mostly they are not radical, but they are pro-Islamic group. Their religion is their main thing in the politics. So they are millions of people, they are graduating every year. So where they will go? So when they will find a call from their group, radical group, Islamic fundamentalist group, yes, they will come into power. And there is no basic difference between the Afghan and Pakistan fundamentalist group. Hey, woman, you have to go home and you have to wear hijab. and you don't have to run the country. You just go inside. So all those women education and other, what about the Sharia Ain? It is their demand, and they believe this is their cause of fighting. They believe that they will go to heaven by doing this, and this is a radical force you have to watch. And if you know the Bangladesh situation, a lots of Rohingya people, they came from the Burma. So more than a million, Rohingya people are inside Bangladesh, and they become a power too. Someday they will come and they will join all the radical force, and they will find the secular force in Bangladesh is not majority anymore. Is not. Is not.
not a majority?
No.
Interesting, because I think that at least, again, the understanding was that the decision to make Dr. Yunus the head or face of this new shows kind of where the country wants to go. You would think, right? Because even the government that they set up with so much involvement from students, involvement from Dr. Yunus, other, again, political players that have been active in that space, I thought it shows where are we trying to take this country.
Well, this is the will of the Generation Z. They don't want the radical. But if I do a political analysis, Jamaat Islam is a big party in Bangladesh. They have a good student. They have the largest, probably, the student force organized. I'll say that the BNP, the National Party, they are against for secularism. Plus all those Hifazat Islam. If you add all those three groups, the biggest political group is against secularism. So the majority of the people, but they are divided. Still the religious groups are divided, not united. For this reason, still secularism is an hope in Bangladesh. But when they will be united at some times, there will be a cause or there will be an effect. It will make them united. Then it will be a big problem in future or near future.
So personally, right, personal opinion, are you hopeful on the future of Bangladesh?
Well, yes, I'm hopeful. Yes, because in my whole, in my generation, the hope prevailed. When I was young, we hoped from we gave the slogan Joy Bangla. So hope prevailed. We freed. I personally fought against against autocracy of military government, against fundamentalism, and every time we won. But our winning was not prevailed, but we won. So yes, people will win. This time, young generation won, Generation Z movement. But if this thing is not prevailing, will not prevail, we'll be in a big trouble. But hope, yes, we'll do it. And Bangladeshi people, if you see all over the world, wherever he is working, he is determined to do something. They are very focused. They want to do whatever they want to do. Yes.
I think the other part about Bangladeshi people is that they're still, like you said earlier, still proud to be Bangladeshi.
Yes.
Right? I think that it was amazing.
The most patriotic people in the whole world. If you do a survey in Bangladesh, if you tell them your country, he will tick mark the top. Because from our liberation war, from our sacrifice, still it is new. Every step, every village you walk, there was a blood there. Our forefathers, my uncle, your grandfather, he died. So we walk through this bloodshed, and people are so patriotic. They cannot defeat the civilization. The whole nature will favor them. Yes. The human, if you see the history of human, mankind, or the evolving of the society, when this group of people are determined like that, they never defeat. Bangladesh will not defeat.
I think that's how most of us feel here too. Because I think it was really cool that everybody here that I know that's Bangladeshi felt a certain pride, almost as if they had.
Yes.
The win, right?
Yes.
Like the morning that Sheikh Hasina, whatever, stepped down, everybody that I know that's Bangladeshi posted it on their story, sent it on Facebook, sent it on Instagram, sent TikToks, and I was like, wow, you feel so much pride, even though you're so far removed, right? It doesn't.
Yeah. Most of them, 80% of them, they will not visit to Bangladesh anymore. 50% of them, they are nobody. They have nobody even there. They just heard from their dad or mom or grandma, and still they feel Bangladesh. They own Bangladesh. Does it mean something? Yes. It has a value. Yes. So yes, this thing will give us a hope, and we'll live on that hope. Maybe our generation will not see a lot, but yes, you will be proud that my father came from Bangladesh. All right?
Wow, I love
Hopefully, you'll get married someone from Bangladesh.
that. I knew my dad was gonna put that in there. Now, now looking at, I guess, like from your perspective now, right? Like retired, your kids are grown, right? How do you kind of look at that relationship between? Obviously, you feel a tie to Bangladesh, right? Do you foresee that for us going forward? That's always my fear. Like we care, right? Because I saw you, right? I'm from Bangladesh. Right? Like I was born there.
Well, the history of immigration, you are not beyond the human nature. You have a connection because your mother cooked. You will look for this food, dal, and you will look for ilish mas. Sometimes at the Eid day, you will remember a celebration. But maybe you will carry some of these things to your children, and that's it. After second generation, will be nowhere.
I, I like think different.
Now, yes,
I think differently because I think now because of, especially in the U.S., especially out west, we don't have like there is American culture, but American culture is so interesting because it's just a fusion. There's no such thing as a true American culture, right?
Correct.
Think about it, like
Right.
Thanksgiving, maybe,
Right.
right? Everything else is like either non-secular, right, or is birthed from another culture, right? Everything that you look at, how we dress, everything is actually from another group's people that they've made popular, right? And for that reason, I think that we will see more generations look back at their roots. I think, like we talk about it, we've talked about it, where a lot of Bangladeshi Americans are now reinvesting in Bangladesh.
Well, the whole world is changing, generation changing. We hope for this, but our thinking, we have a limited knowledge about a future. But our thing is, the nationality, all those identity. Our main identity will prevail with the language. For last 40 years, I wrote a lot, probably hundreds of pieces of papers, and my son and daughter they cannot read one even pages. So the Google Translate. So this is if this thing goes like this, but yeah, the things changing. In outside the Bangladesh, there is another Bangladesh now. Is like you guys. You American Bangladeshi. Yes, American Jamaican, American red. What is European? So yes, something like that will prevail. But how far you will be connected to my village, I don't know. My culture, I don't know. When my father walked, people had to stop. They're walking because they respect that. This was our culture. I don't know. You even don't care about me. And now, so everything is changing. But hopefully, at some day, even after 100 years, if somebody will remember that, hey, we came from Bangladesh, and I will be happy.
I think that there's different same opinion but different opinion. I think that those stories of like who Dada was, right? Like those things I think still permeate in us but very differently.
Okay.
I think that like again like I say that
Yeah, I hope you think different. We came from a different. Yes,
I think
this is your pride.
I think so. I don't know if you remember saying it as much as a kid, or I don't know if this is the thing that I remember. Like I remember you saying that our last name like meant something, right?
Yeah.
And for me, that meant something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why.
As long my advice is that not only you, whoever listening to our generation, this is our pride. I came from a remote village. I had to walk, almost 3 miles to go to a school. I come back, but all those people in my village, they used to go to that school with me. I never forget them. I have a connection with them. And this is my asset. When I go to anywhere in this world, Europe and everything, I found a couple of dozens of people. They came forward. Hey, this is our guy. We used to go to this school. Even if you go to North Brunswick, nobody will come to you now. This is our culture. And we are proud of this. We are proud of this. And you carry that as long as you feel like that. You can give the value of this and you will feel good.
I think that what you're saying in terms of Bangladeshis, like we take that now for Bangladeshi like Americans, right? Or not even Bangladeshi Americans, like that South Asian Americans. Like that feeling,
yes.
I can go anywhere, right?
Yeah.
My people will take care of me.
Yes.
I think we just have a different definition of what my people is. Like for me, my people is not just Bangladeshi Americans. For me, my people is that anybody brown, black, that looked like me or came from a similar struggle for me. That families identify with what my family went through. Like for me, my people is anybody who's had to go through a struggle or their parents had to go through a struggle. Like that to me is like my people. Do I feel that with everybody?
That's good.
Yes, because I know
Yeah, that's good.
But I think I adopt it for all of us, right? Like if I see, like I have more in common with like my black friends, my Indian American friends than I do anybody else.
Well, this thing made America unique because everybody considered this, this feeling, considered this, this narrative. Hey, this is good to me, this is good to others, and we should respect each other. This made America a great country, and as long we will follow this, as long we are involved in this, we are respectful to each other, it will prevail.
I hope so. I think that's where we're in a weird part in society, right? Because it's like the idea of America is that, right?
Yes, America is not a country. America is an idea. Yeah. Culture of America is not. You cannot just define it. It is an idea. It is an idea where everybody came, everybody melt, everybody put together, and there is a fusion.
The same thing. I think like all of these countries, like we get so caught up in, oh, this territory is like Bangladesh, right?
Yeah.
But you're no less Bangladeshi than somebody that's on Bangladesh soil right now, right? Because of the idea, the culture, the things that permeate it through. Dad, thanks for doing this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's go for dinner.
Yes, absolutely. Yo, thank you all for listening. Peace.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you.